r/AskMen. Guys who got divorced very soon after getting married. What happened and how did you realize it wasn't going to work? I got divorced 6 months after getting married. Oddly enough, we dated for 2 years without issue and had a great relationship. Within a few months of getting married, she became an entirely different person. Other than her appearance, there was absolutely nothing about her I found familiar. It was as though a completely incompatible person was transplanted into her body. We fought constantly. Ultimately, the deciding factor that spelled the end was that she refused to go to counseling with me. I decided that if she was unwilling to meet me part way, there was no point in continuing the relationship and I ended it. You never divorce the same person you marry. She left me for a guy that is 20 years older than her. 9 months into our marriage. 2 months into their new relationship, they break up. His balls were so wrinkly. So you got big daddied. Did he offer an 8-year plan? And did that plan lead to her working at Hooters? What is it? Don't die? We dated and lived together for 3 years. We had a big fancy wedding. One day, 3 months into the marriage, I left for work but forgot something. Went home to get it, and she wouldn't let me into the house. Something felt wrong, so I snooped into her emails. Found emails to another guy saying she never loved me, but loved him instead. I confronted her about it, and she left me for him. I never understood why you'd marry someone you didn't love. It's just a recipe to unhappiness. Some people mistake other feelings for love because of how they've grown up, like being needed or relied on, or they mimic their parents' unhealthy relationships, or whatever role they had in the family growing up, because that is what is familiar. Agreed. Also, sunk cost fallacy comes up a lot in these situations. Sadly, it's usually not as binary as you either love someone or you don't. There's a lot of guilt, pain, and fear that comes with leaving and losing someone you care about because you're not in love with them. Had this happen to a cousin. He had a September wedding to a woman who he had grown up with in their relatively small town. On Christmas, they ended up having a huge fight because she insisted that they had to spend the entire day with her parents and that they couldn't visit his parents at all. His parents lived across the street from her parents. They were divorced by March. She insisted that they had to spend the entire day with her parents and that they couldn't visit his parents at all. His parents lived across the street from her parents. That's just really childish. Like really childish. But now I'm curious. Who wanted the divorce in the first place? Yes, that marriage was doomed. Marriage is a conglomeration of compromises. It's no longer about you and yours. This instance has nothing to do with compromise. It's about control. It said the parents lived across the street. It's not a compromise to say, sure, you can visit your family on a holiday. It's pure hypocrisy to be at your parents and deny the person you said you loved to see their family. Well said, good sir. I got divorced 7 weeks after we were married. We were together for 3 years and everything fell apart right before the wedding. When I asked to go to therapy to save the marriage, we went to 1 session and then she told me that she would never go back because therapy was toxic for our relationship. That's what I knew, it was over. I caught her cheating and in other lies a year later after being with her for 6 years. Same. Never married. Saw her secret dirty texts 2 different times. Messed me up for a year. I got married as a teen because she got pregnant. I didn't love her, but at the location where I lived the pressure on me was immense and it was right thing to do. One day she went with her older brother for a ride on his motorcycle. They had an accident. Long story short, she lost our child that day. On top of all that, they were both on cocaine. Our child wasn't planned, but this loss caused me great deal of pain, and her irresponsibility absolutely disgusted me. The marriage was annulled after 6 months. Was married for a year. We talked about having kids. She got pregnant. After getting pregnant, she decided she no longer wanted kids and got an abortion. I wanted to have kids. She all of a sudden either. After the abortion we fought day and night. She blamed me for making her getting an abortion. It was a rough time. I felt the only way to salvage the marriage was going to counseling, and she was against it. I was going on a work trip for a week. During that week we talked a lot through text, but I ended up coming home to finding all her stuff moved out and a letter stating she wanted a divorce because she cheated and wasn't sure if the kid was mine or not, and that's the reasoning for the abortion. That's a long story short, but a rough 2 to 3 years in my life. Divorced 1 year after getting married. The rampant hard drug use and abuse finally pushed me past my breaking point. So I left. I was 20. I got cancer and the psycho skipped the in sickness part. My first wedding was a shotgun wedding. My mom cheated on her new husband a week into the marriage, but he still came to see me every weekend despite not being his. I was married in December 2018. We separated at 4 months into the marriage in May 2019. I never knew it wasn't going to work out. She came to me questioning her sexuality. She expressed that getting married made her finally realize her true self. Absolutely the most devastating thing I have ever experienced. Sometimes people get married to see if they are straight. It's like sometimes people have babies to see if they can be parents. Her questioning her sexuality did absolutely not start with the marriage, mate. This is not on you at all, it is on her. Those kinds of questions, even if she was being honest with you, are not decided over a 4-month period. That's lifetimes of doubt and you were the guy she tested the waters with. I'm sorry for you. It is my worst nightmare because the same thing happened to my brother. She had doubts before she met you. She used you to validate those feelings. I hope you're in a better place now. I went through the questioning her sexuality thing too. My post is farther up, but after dating another woman and getting herpes, she realized, in the end, that she's actually straight, maybe bi, but I never got that clarification, and married another guy and got pregnant. I got married after a 3-year relationship. 8 months into the marriage, she started having affairs. I did not realize it at this time. At 10 months, on my birthday, she came home and told me she was engaged. She moved out and in with her fiancé. It turned out she had had affairs with at least 5 people in the last 2 months of the marriage. I honestly still have no clue why. She told me at the end that she was happy with me and I was her ideal person, which was obviously not true. Oh, and before moving out, she used my credit card to buy wedding rings, a wedding dress, and naughty time toys for her new marriage. I still feel like an idiot to this day. She is now on marriage number 4. Not me but a former teacher. He married one of the state's more recent Miss America contestants. Never asked him which year, so no idea. He was Catholic, and she was Mormon, and there were not a lot of Mormons in the state in question, then or now. Apparently they discussed having kids, but never discussed what religion the kids would be, and apparently neither was willing to budge. Rest in peace, CA. You made an impact on our lives. Edit. CA is a reference to the teacher's initials. He since left this mortal coil. California, as far as I know, is not yet dead. She was my first real girlfriend in high school and had abandonment issues. She told me she was on the pill, infertile and allergic to condoms. Begged me to not pull out. Pretty cloudy thinking in that moment, so I ended up becoming a teen father. I was pushed to marry her, but before we did I admitted I was pretty sure I was gay. She said we could pray it away and, after about 6 months of being outed to random people, I said the gay was all gone, and I was ready to be straight, and married to her. Lasted about 2 years, before I couldn't take it anymore. She made my life a living hell for the last 16 years and finally just apologized to me after our son moved in with me and my husband of 10 years, because he couldn't handle her craziness. She isn't a bad person, just misled by religion, poor mental health care, unstable parents, etc. It's not your fault. You stepped on a landmine, my dude. He not only stepped on the mine, he didn't pull away when he exploded. We'd been married since May, and on our 6-month wedding anniversary she moved out. She had cheated on me with the kitchen manager at a nearby restaurant while we were engaged and blamed me for it, saying I didn't allow her to live a free life. That should have been sign number 1, but her arguments and my fear of ever wronging her like that forced me to believe she was right. We got married 3 months later. Then I eventually asked her why she was exclusively going to this bar when one particular male bartender was working, my trust having already been entirely shattered. She blamed me again and said she had to stop being friends with him because she felt so vulnerable and likely to cheat again. Now she lives with the last guy she was cheating on me with, not the bartender or kitchen manager, and he's incredibly abusive. It's a whole ordeal, and we are still not technically divorced. You should really put a proper end to it. Get the divorce, man. I'm a lawyer, not divorced though, and I've heard of so many ways someone can fornicate over their still married ex in so many ways, especially financially. She was having naughty time with someone else. That'll do it. I like my woman, like I like my coffee, without someone else's tea in it. She clapped when the plane landed for our honeymoon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. #McAfee for Monday Night Football.